Hey y'all, it's Amanda, and today we're going to chat about what I bring inside for the winter and what I leave outside. I feel like this is a tough topic because everybody's garden is different. Even if I'm a zone 8 and you're a zone 8 somewhere else, we can still really have significantly different conditions. In fact, it can even get down to neighborhoods and gardens. I feel like my backyard is a completely different microclimate than my front yard. So I really feel like this is a great subject to discuss, but know that your plants that you bring inside and the plants you leave outside might be completely different from mine. So every fall I face the same question: what's worth bringing inside and what can handle the winter outdoors? In zone 8, we get these mild days followed by a hard freeze overnight. So planning ahead saves my plants and my sanity. And we can do, like, we already had a light freeze and I lost a few things. A few things are damaged, not too bad. And it could be mid-December before we have another one. We're very roller coaster here. And we have a lot of lighter freezes. We rarely have deep freezes where it is actually below freezing for more than an entire day. We usually just get below freezing for a couple of hours. So how do you decide what should come inside and what should stay outside in your garden? Well, first of all, you need to know your zone. I am zone 8, Texas zone 8, completely different from zone 8s in South Carolina or wherever the other zone 8s are. Zone 8 usually has mild winters and can still drop below freezing for short stretches. Like I said, rarely do we have deep freezes. You want to discover what your zone is. You can look it up on the USDA growing map zones online and plug in your zip code and it will tell you what growing zone you have. And based off of that, you can kind of help plan what works best for you. You want to check your plant hardiness. So that's when you're buying plants throughout the season as you're planting them out. So meaning you want to check and see if this plant will survive your cold winters or not. So for zone 8, anything below the zone 8 hardiness, or if I plant it in a container below zone 7 hardiness, should come inside. So for me, I have a lot of annuals back here that I recently just took a lot of cuttings from, and therefore I'm not stressed about bringing them in because I've already propagated cuttings and I can move forth and they're fine. Anything in containers is going to be 1 to 2 zones colder. It's not going to be able to handle the colder temps. So like these up here, these plants, basically I treat them like they're zone 9 plants, even though I'm a zone 8. And anything colder than zone 9 is not going to do well here. So these will obviously die during my winter since we are a zone 8, which is colder than a zone 9. You want to look at replacement costs. If it's expensive or sentimental, I protect it. If it's easy to replace, I let it go. Like I said, all these are easy to replace. I already took propagation and I'm good. I don't like to move big heavy stuff, but I do have a Meyer lemon that I will move, which will not be fun. Sounds like our mowers are here. Let's see how this goes. But if it's inexpensive to replace or you can grow it again by seed and it's no big deal, just leave it. Don't stress about it. Containers versus in-ground. So we chat a little bit about that. Potted plants are more vulnerable since roots are not insulated by surrounding soils. So quite frequently, if I have something that's hardy to zone 8 and I plant it in a container, technically it's only hardy to zone 9 at that point because that container is going to get much colder than if that plant were in the ground. Space reality, be honest with yourself. This is me every year. Your indoor space and light are limited. So make sure what you can realistically bring inside and have room to overwinter. And I struggle with this every year. So it is really important to me. One of the things I wanted to overwinter this year, which would be new, is a pot of lavender, but I am going to go ahead and take some propagation from it. So I will bring it back and forth. The lemon tree is another one that I like to overwinter. There's actually not very many that I overwinter any longer, just because I like to utilize my space for growing seedlings and propagation. So therefore, I can't bring everything in, and you got to be realistic with yourself. You might not have room for everything, and squashing everything in isn't necessarily the best situation for plants. It spreads disease and pests way easier. And one really good tip is you're not going to have your plants in all the time. Sometimes you're going to bring them out, especially zone 8. Bring them out on nice days, bring them back in on colder days. You want to go ahead and label the plants that are inside crew and outside crew. So go ahead and put a label in there noting which ones will come inside and which ones will stay outside. All right, so here's my mower. We'll come back to this. Okay, they got all that finished up. So kind of talked about how to figure out what you need to bring inside or outside. So let's talk about the plants that I like to bring inside and why. So a few things: tropicals and tender perennials. Tropicals, dragonwing begonias, Swedish ivy, velvet hills, tradescantia. Those are all going to be overwintered cuttings, but you can bring them in as whole plants and they do really great inside. Coleus, geraniums, Persian shield, caladiums. The coleus, geraniums, Persian shield, I will typically take cuttings of and propagate them. The caladiums, I will dig them up, and I do have a video coming up later of myself digging up caladiums and dahlia bulbs and storing them for the winter. And then one tip is to take cuttings if the plant's too big to move. So if you have a massive plant that did beautifully this year, you really like to have it again for next year, go ahead and take cuttings, propagate them inside in water or in soil using one of those methods, and then you have a free plant for next year. Next on my list is herbs that prefer warmth. Basil won't survive a frost, so if you have really good basil, you can bring in the pot or dig up the plant, or you can go ahead and cut all the stems and dry the basil just so that you have it for use during the winter. Items like lemongrass, rosemary, if it's in pots, rosemary can survive in the ground here in Zone 8, Texas. If it's in a pot, it does need to come in. Lemon verbena can be overwintered in bright indoor spaces. Next, tropical houseplants that summer outdoors. If you have philodendrons, alocasia, caladiums, ferns, move them back inside before night temps dip below 50 degrees, and you want to check them for pests before bringing them in. Okay, treating plants before bringing them inside is super important. I just went over this in some of my propagating videos. You really got to look for those pests, because once you bring them inside for the winter, those pests are going to be there all winter long. They're so tough to eradicate because you're bringing them into a closed environment where there are no other pests to help keep them at bay. Their natural predators are gone. So you want to inspect the plants thoroughly, look under leaves and soil for spider mites, aphids, mealybugs, or scale. Take the time to really look. You want to wash them down, rinse the foliage with a hose, and then let them completely dry prior to bringing them out. You can also do a soil soak, which is to submerge the pot in a tub of lukewarm water with a few drops of insecticidal soap to drown the pests that might be hiding in the soil. Now, an optional treatment, and I do suggest this, especially if you've had any issues from the past, is use neem oil or insecticidal spray once indoors as a preventative measure. And I brought lantana cuttings in last year and had an infestation of mealybugs. It was terrible. And then one more thing is you want to acclimate these plants. Move plants into the shade or indirect light for a few days prior to taking them inside to prevent any kind of shock that they might have. Next on the list is what plants should I leave outside and how do I protect those? So first on the list is hardy perennials. Those are the ones that do great with my winters. Things like daylilies, salvia, iris, coreopsis, yarrow. All of these are hardy through my Texas winters. For those hardy perennials, quite frequently, I will just add a little bit of mulch to their base and they do fine. Most of them, I don't really even have to do that because they just overwinter beautifully here. Bulbs and tubers, we're going to leave in the ground depending on the bulb and tuber. If the drainage is good and you want to mulch heavily after the first frost. Things like dahlia tubers, I don't typically leave in the ground. Caladiums, I don't leave either because those don't come back consistently. But I do leave things like daffodils, iris bulbs, iris tubers, rhizomes. They all do really great here. Roses and shrubs, we don't prune them too hard at this point. We only prune them if we feel like they're going to break or snap because they're oversized or struggling in the winter winds. We want to wait until late winter. Typically, I do mine around Valentine's Day, and we add a layer of compost or mulch around the base of them at that time. But other than that, I just really don't stress about the roses and shrubs. Containers that can handle frost. So all of my terracotta containers that I'm obsessed with have to be moved under this patio right here. They cannot remain out in the garden because if we get rain and then a freeze, the water in the soil will freeze and expand and will crack the terracotta pots. So my terracotta pots do have to come up under here for the winter. Last year I tried overwintering them out in the back corner and I put a tarp over them and that worked great as well. However, I did not like looking at that tarp the entire winter. So I do think once again I'm going to bring them and stack them under here because that just works better for me. But things like metal or plastic or ceramic, not terracotta, ceramic containers can stay out as long as they have mulch and protection. I don't usually do a lot of mulch and protection on those, but most of those aren't just out in the elements. They tend to be up against the base of the house or tucked within a garden, so they do fine. Tip, you can group pots together and cover with frost cloth on cold nights to create a microclimate, and I've done that many a times and it has been extremely helpful. And last on the list, let's talk about what plants I let go of and why. So zinnias, marigolds, petunias, impatiens, celosia, these will all die in the first freeze. Instead of trying to save these plants, I collect the seeds, and it's one of my favorite fall rituals to do that, collect the seeds. Well, my celosia is self-seed, but collect marigold seeds and zinnia seeds. I don't typically collect petunia seeds. I will say they readily reseed themselves in my garden. But any kind of annuals, I just don't even stress about it because they're inexpensive to purchase, or I can start them from seed myself. Okay, and then let's touch on how to keep indoor plants happy through the winter. And I am not great with indoor plants, but I will be bringing some plants indoor this winter. And there are a few things that I like to do to make sure that they make it through the winter inside. First is light. I like to put them on a south or west windows or use grow lights for 12 to 14 hours a day. I typically use the grow lights. It's just easier for me. And the grow room that they're contained in is a nice warm location in my house. Water. You want to water less frequently but consistently, and don't love them to death. Don't water them to death. So allow the top 2 inches of the soil to dry prior to watering those plants again inside. Humidity, and this is probably what I struggle with the most, group plants together or use trays of pebbles and water. So I actually installed some curtains up on my quote-unquote dining room that's also my grow room, and now I close those curtains and it maintains the humidity in that room so much better. So those curtains are in like the doorway that separates the, not really separates, but is the entrance from the dining room into the living room. So putting up those big curtains has helped a lot with the humidity. Leaving little saucers of water and pebbles out really helps maintain the humidity around those plants. And then finally, fertilizer. You want to hold off on fertilizer until spring when new growth resumes. So we don't want to fertilize them through the winter. Maybe once, maybe like around Christmas. That's fine. A little bit light, diluted, water-soluble fertilizer would be fine at that point. So I wanted to touch on this because a lot of times this seems easy. And I will say, the way I usually do things, I've done this long enough that I already know what needs to come in and what needs to come out, stay out. But for new gardeners, this is helpful. And then also for, some established gardeners, this might key into a few things that you can propagate and save and, save some money on as well. I highly suggest really looking ahead on your weather forecast. Look a couple of weeks ahead. Make sure that you're aware of any potential freezes, major frosts, or anything like that, and that you're not scrambling the night before something. Give yourself a couple of days to go ahead and get these plants set up and ready to bring inside. All right, you guys, learning what to save and what to let go makes gardening more sustainable and more affordable. And affordability is huge for me in the gardening world. This is a very expensive hobby, and I work hard to keep my costs down. So seed starting, propagating, sharing, growing with other people, doing a lot of the stuff, DIY stuff myself. It's really helped save a lot of money, and really knowing what plants I can and cannot save will help as well. All right, you all, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Let me know what plants you bring inside for the winter, whether it's because they're really expensive plants and you want to save them, or sentimental, or you just really think that plant is pretty. Drop comments below. Let me know which plants you like to save. And if you're like me and you're on a gardening journey and you want to do that with some gardening friends, you can check out my Patreon community. The link is in the video description below. There is a free tier that'll get you access to a few things. There is also a paid tier called Certified Mad Gardener. And if you become a Certified Mad Gardener, you get access to everything, including lives, exclusive videos, as well as photo sharing and group chats. So I hope you all will check that out. As always, she's a mad gardener or a decorator or anything else that she wants to be. Thanks, y'all.